Hello, viewers. It's another day on Broken Not Shattered, and like I will always say, it's wonderful to have you here in the studio again, or here again to listen to what we have for you today. We really want to appreciate you for being consistent with us and always coming week in, week out to be with us. Thank you so much for being with us. Um, we also want to thank our convener, Ike, who has continued also to be consistent in what we do here. Now, having said that, today is a wonderful day again, and we'll have a very special person in the house. I wouldn't want to waste time going through introduction and preambles. I would want to quickly go to the country, Nigeria, and bring in a lady whose mission is to help women live again. Now, I will introduce to you this woman who is from all the way from Africa, in Nigeria in Africa. Her name is Enifumi. Enifumi, you're welcome to the program. Please introduce yourself as you want the audience to get to know you. Enifumi, thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much for
Enifumi, I
having
know I
me,
may have not
Obi.
pronounced your name very well, but please bear with me. Thank you.
It's all right. It's all right. Thank you so much for having me.
You're
My name
welcome.
is Enifome, right? I'm from Delta State, Isoko, actually from Delta State, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me here.
You're
Well,
welcome.
I am just a minister of God. I am somebody who is submitted to the authority and the lordship of God, of Jesus Christ. And I'm a reformer. Basically, what I do is I reform anywhere I enter. It's reformation, it's transformation. So I function as an MC, a speaker, a coach, a brand strategist. I also have a foundation, and I founded the Live Again movement. But everything is tied to transformation, helping people build better lives, helping them live their best lives, helping them live and not exist, just basically helping them become better, whether it's people, whether it's events, whether it's organizations. So basically, that's who I am and that's what I do. But I help women live again, and I'm known as the Live Again coach. And that is one area of life that is an umbrella that just marries everything together. I help women live again, and it cuts across different aspects. But basically, a woman that is just existing and wants to truly live. Some people are smiling, they don't have true joy. Some people are empty on the inside. Some people are walking dead. It looks to people like they are alive and they're doing well. A lot of women are not living. And so that is my primary assignment, to help women live again. And yes, basically.
Wow, that's a wonderful introduction. And Nipome
Thank you
help
very much.
women live again. Very striking. That's a very striking word. Help women live again. But before we continue, I want to encourage you to always follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Like I said earlier, we are now on Spotify and on TikTok. Do well to follow us, subscribe, and click on the notification button. And then do well to also share to your friends. And for me, it's interesting having you today in the studio. Unfortunately, our main host, who is the convener of Broken Nursery, is on vacation. Ike, a very wonderful man, and he would have loved to hear from you. But all the same, we here in Broken Nursery, we work as a team, and we're always grateful each time we have our guests. You're one of the very beautiful soul we are having interaction with this period of time. And I must say, we are pleased to have you in the studio. Thank you and welcome once again. And if I may,
Thank you.
in your introduction, you said you help women live again, and that is quite striking. Can you tell us how this live again came about? How did you conceive this idea of live again? What prompted you to get into this, and how has it been?
Oh, okay. Well, I I found myself in a very messy situation. I found myself in a, I call it the belly of the fish. That's what I call it, because the belly of the fish situation is a situation where only God can help you come out of it. Only God. So I found myself in a messy situation in the belly of the fish, and I cried out to God for help because I realized that I contributed to what was happening to me. So I went through abuse, and at some point, I began to remember the warning signs that God gave me. I began to remember how the devil found entrance and how the devil played his game. Really, it was a game that the devil played. But I gave the devil the permission or the opportunity to be able to play that game. So by the time I realized that, it was a very big mistake, because I had begun to see the effects of my actions and my choice, right? I began to call on God to say, Lord, you need to help me. This is not the way I intend to live my life. There has to be more to me. This is not it. This is not what living, because I was existing. I was just a walking dead, going to work. You would see me on the outside and think I have everything, because at that time I was in a very, very palatable job, the kind of job that people will look at and say, God, when? Right? I had a driver at my disposal. I had people calling me ma all over the place. It was in the eyes of the world, oh wow, this person is living her best life. But I was dying. I remember locking my office and I would just cry uncontrollably and repeatedly. This was my norm. I would cry, I would clean my eyes, I would just bounce and go out like, oh, nothing is happening. But I just kept, it was a circle, a never ending cycle of tears, guilt, shame, emptiness, lack of significance, fear. It was just a lot of negative emotions and negativity. So I began to really call to God to say, God, there has to be more, right? I need you to bring me out of this pit. And in the midst of that pit, I heard the words, I have loved you with an everlasting love. And so my healing journey started. And I realized that even the way I saw God was different because of my upbringing, my experiences, my environment, things I went through. So I used to see God like, I don't know, like someone that's punishing me for my sins, someone that just marks register and says, oh, wrong, fail, pass, this, I'm going to punish you today, that kind of thing. So by the time I began to now call to God again, he said to me, I have loved you with everlasting love. And he introduced himself to me as love. So I began to understand what true love really was. Not the ones we see in Mills and Boone, not the ones we see on social media, not the ones that we see people exhibit, but there is a love that is deep, wide, very strong, unconditional. And then he began to tell me that he has loved me. It wasn't about now, it wasn't about before, it wasn't about nothing, it was just about him. He loves me, period. And so that began a healing journey for me. And then, of course, intimacy with God, because, you think you know God, but God draws you into himself. I've always been a church girl, Christian girl, but when this it became a more intimate relationship. It became a very deep relationship of really knowing God as Father, not just as God, but as Father. And so he began to heal me. And then we used to have, when sometimes you think you have options. In fact, you actually have options. And then you now realize that God is your only option, because you actually have planned your life and realize that everything you planned has come to naught. And then you now look at it and say, wow, indeed, God is my only option and God loves me. So I took God so seriously that I made him my everything. I made him my source. I made him everything. There was nothing that could take the chance. I instituted God as Lord, no longer just Savior, but he was now my Lord, which means whatever he says, I do. It was more like I became a handmaiden of the Lord. So in that one of the moments we were having like an intimate relationship and encounter, I heard the words live again. And when I heard those words, I'd never heard those words before, ever. When I heard the words live again, I began to really check and say, okay, what is live again? What is this? And the more I pressed in to gain clarity, I realized that God was just showing me to myself that I'm a woman that is living again. I had been knocked down and now I'm living again. And he wanted me to go help others that are down to come back up.
Wow.
And that's
Wow.
how the journey to helping women live again started.
Wow. This is mind blowing. You know, there were a lot you said in this little time, and also a lot to take away from what you just said. Now, it was via your experience, right, that you were able to catch that vision of what you're doing now, right?
Sorry, I didn't
It
get the
was what
question.
you went through that introduced you to what you're doing now.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
So
I went
so
from
so
broken, abused,
good.
and distressed to helping
Mm,
broken, abused, and distressed women.
mm.
Yeah,
So can we now say that sometimes God allows us to go through that just to give us a message?
absolutely. Now,
Wow.
God doesn't cause it. God is not the one that causes it, but He allows it because pain usually births purpose, right? So that's why He allows it. But God doesn't inflict it on us. He doesn't. He's not the one that is, But when it happens, He allows it because He knows that it would lead us to purpose.
Okay, that's fine. I love that. Then I will get back to this maybe towards the end. Now, I want to ask, in what you do, can you share with us what has been some of the milestones, the achievements so far in this Live Again for women?
Okay, so when you just do, I always tell people that God works with seed. Everything that is big started small. So for me, just from hearing Live Again, and then now, so we have the Live Again, we have the Live Again Summit, we have the Live Again Shelter. Um, so far, we've helped over 2,000 women live again, and this is across
Mm.
events, community, shelter, um, academy, coaching, counseling, support, guidance, empowerment financially. So we've helped over 2,000 women live again. One of the greatest milestones that we've achieved is basically the Live Again Shelter and the Live Again Outreach. We just finished the Live Again Outreach. We helped over 500 women live again. We gave them free medical care, free makeovers, free photo shoots, free career coaching and counsel. Everything was free. They had clothes. They really just shopped for free and they did their photo shoots right there. We wanted to really help them see the possibility of living again. So we brought speakers, we brought the members of the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency. They were there on ground. And it was just a really holistic healing outreach that helped women live again on all fronts. And they got a lot of things: books, free jewelry. There was just a lot of gifts. And of course, we fed them. And then we empowered over 20 of those women with financial grants to start afresh
So
in their business. So, yeah, those
so
are
are
the
there
really
ways
two
are
milestones.
there ways to measure are there ways to measure these these your milestones or these women that you bring together? Are there ways to measure their improvement and stay
Of
in touch
course.
with them and monitor? Do
Of
you have
course, so
such strategies?
we have a community. Now, I'm a coach, so I'm very big on transformation. I don't like to do things
Okay.
that are peripheral and don't have a lasting effect or sustainability or something that doesn't go deep inside, because nothing happens outside until it happens inside. So for me,
Hmm.
I've been very particular about the transformation of these women, the sustenance of their
Okay.
live again journeys. So we have a
Hmm.
community. What we did was that we put everyone that came to the outreach in a community. And
Okay.
we've been feeding them, they've been learning. We have a knowledge curriculum where we teach them and we make them see that without growth, you cannot live again. So we are very particular about growth: spiritual growth, emotional growth, mental growth, physical growth, and financial growth. Right. So that's what we do. We just concluded a business training for the grant beneficiaries and some of the members of the community. And every day, every week, we have different activities, and every day has its own activity. And we ensure that they are
Hmm.
following it. So we've had people that have registered for skill acquisition. We've partnered with different people that do fashion design based on the needs of the women in the community. Oh, I want to learn fashion design. I want to learn events. We've partnered with quite a number of people. Many of those women have been enrolled in fashion design courses, makeup courses, soft furnishing, tech-based programs, entrepreneurship,
Wow.
and we
Wow.
are even discipling those that came out, because we had an altar call on the day of the outreach. Some people came out to rededicate their life to Christ, and some people came out to give their lives to Christ. We have a discipleship going on for them. So everybody is being monitored, and we're evaluating everyone, ensuring that they are growing on their journeys. And it's really an ongoing process. Like they say, the reward for great work is more work. So it really brought forth a lot of more work to do, and we're doing it. Yeah.
Well, just on a lighter note, I believe you're doing a lot that you don't need to hit the gym. It's a lot to keep you in fit, and I say it. So we're going to go on a very quick break, and once we return,
Thank you very much. I was trying to unmute. Thank you.
Yes. So we'll go on a very quick break. Then when we return, I will ask you about the challenges and others. And if may good to have you. We went on a short break there. Now we are back. We just want to have, what has been your challenges so far? What was that very dark moment for you, even after you have conceived the vision and you're running with it, and why you're running with it? Can you share with us the milestone of your challenges so far?
I can never forget when our landlord gave us a quick notice for our Live Again shelter. If you live in Lagos, Nigeria, where I live, getting an accommodation is a lot. The whole process of even finding your choice, and then the ridiculous requirements sometimes, and all of that. So it wasn't something that I thought I was going to have to deal with, because that was settled. And then all of a sudden, the landlord says, oh, he's giving everyone in the apartment quick notice, or in his apartment. And it affected us, of course, and we had to leave. And that moment, to be very honest, what I wanted to do was pack all the things in the shelter and put it in one store in my house, because, you know, there sometimes challenges come at the wrongest time, because at that time, I was in a place where it was like, let me not add this one, please, I can't deal right now. But I just went back to God again. That's the thing. When God gives you a vision, it's really about his vision. So I went back to say, Lord, this thing has happened. This is what I want to do. What are you saying? And I kept asking. And then finally he spoke that I shouldn't end the Live Again shelter. I should just find a new location, and I should even go and look for a bigger apartment. I'm like, what? You know, but we're able to do that. It was very challenging. We had to do crowdfunding, and it was very stressful. We finally were able to get a place, but it was a better place, a bigger place. And so it was more of a case of disappointment that turned into a blessing, because now we can accommodate more women. And it really was a challenge at that time, but one that we're grateful for. So that's the one I really can remember. It's been very difficult funding our projects, because some people can congratulate you and tell you well done, and people can, you know, insult people that are going through abuse for so long. When Osinachi died, everybody became a motivational speaker. Everybody was saying, why didn't she leave? Oh, she should have left. Oh, this, oh, these women. And then I asked the question, if she had left and she came to your house, would you have housed her? And for how long? Yeah, so those are our major challenges.
Now, what will be your advice to one who is facing abuse as a woman?
Okay, fabulous. If you're listening and you're going through abuse, or you know anyone going through abuse, one of the things that you need to know when going through abuse is that you're not hopeless. It's not a hopeless situation, because when people are going through abuse, what I've come to understand is that there is this hopelessness, like, oh, there is no hope. This is the life that I'm supposed to live, especially when that person is not privileged enough, or maybe their family is not here, or the man has been, because what abusers do is that they strip their victims of every sort of strength and anything that can give them some sort of strength. So sometimes there's financial abuse. They'll say you cannot work. I'm the only one that can give you money, or you're working. They're saying bring the money. The essence is control, just to ensure that you are a prisoner, you are in bondage. So whether yours is financial, whether yours is physical abuse, domestic violence, you are not hopeless. You are not hopeless. It's very important, because some people feel like there is nothing I can do about this. Once you feel like there is nothing that can change, then you will settle for the abuse and you will settle for less. So for me, I would say there is no hopelessness. There is hope, especially if you're a child of God. The Bible says Christ in you is the hope of glory. So that's the first thing I would say if you are in that situation. The second thing is that you should reach out for help. When I was being abused, there were no people that are talking about abuse like now. I'm talking almost 10 years ago, right? And yeah, there were people who were always shy, and nobody wants to come out and say anything, and they'll tag you, they'll label you, they'll stigmatize you. So it was a case of, oh, you're just going through this thing. But I was very lucky to reach out to someone who referred me to the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, WAPA, in Alausa, Lagos, Nigeria. And I went in there and I complained. At some point, they were not even, when these people call these men or these abusers, they can only do what they can do. Sometimes in fact, a lot of times, it's still up to the woman or the person being abused to decide. We've had cases of people that you will help, they will still go back. You get what I mean? They will even insult you and block you and tell you, get out, you want me to leave my marriage, you are wicked, you are this, and then turn it upside down on you, and you'll be wondering, wow. So for what they did was that they invited the abuser, and they made him sign an undertaking and everything, which he felt was an abuse to himself, like my ego and everything. And of course, that was when he increased the abuse more and began to even do more than he was doing before. But I got to a point where I told myself that no, I deserve better than this, and I'm not going to settle for this. And so at that point, I began to look inwards. So I would advise the person listening to me: number one, there is no hopelessness. Number two, reach out for help. Currently, there are a lot of people that are advocating for abuse and helping abused women. Live Again Foundation is one of them. You can reach out on Instagram, on anywhere, at Lamb Tribe on Instagram, or at Live Again Foundation. We help abused women on a daily. In fact, last night I was chatting with a lady who is in that situation right now, and she's pregnant. So we do it every day. So the third thing you need to do is, okay, the first thing is there is no hopelessness. The second thing is reach out to the right authorities for help. And this might be spiritual authority, it can be government authority, it can be, but reach out to the authorities or the people that do these things, right? The third thing is to look inward and ask yourself, what do I really want? Because a lot of times it's our desires that keep us stuck in toxic situations. You have a desire to be a missus, for example, a desire to be seen in a certain way. That's really what is tying you, because at the end of the day, you can actually live. You can. But when you think of, this person, where will I start from? It's still tied to your desires. You have a certain way you want your life to be. So you're wondering, how will I leave all of this and go and start and all of that? You can start over, but you have to know what you want. So ask yourself, what do I really, really want? Is this what I really, really, really want? And then the fourth thing is to really ask yourself, what do I have in my hands? Look at your talents, your skills. Many of these women are not financially empowered, like I said, because the abusers strip them of their income. So look at yourself. What do I have? For me, I lost my job. That job I told you about at the beginning. I lost it. So I didn't have a job again. You know what I did? I asked myself, what do I have in my hand? I've always been an MC part-time, but I've never done it full-time. I've always done 9 to 5. So I said, okay, now that there's no job, let me go and face MC full-time. And I did it. And from there, I started building my brand, from emceeing to speaking and getting paid to speak. And then from there to coaching, and from there to therapy. And it just keeps going on and on, because the more you develop yourself, the more you become. So So look at yourself. What do I have in my hand? What do you love to do? What are your passions? What do you know how to do, like right now? Start doing it. Go to your church, volunteer, help. Say, oh, I can do this. Post on your status. Tell everybody, I can do this. I know how to make hair. I know. Before you know what is happening, you will grow. And as you grow, you'll be able to sustain your Live Again journey, and you'll be able to earn from your skills and your talents. So I will stop there for now. Those ones, if you're able to do those ones, I have a book, 12-step guide to living again, for anybody who wants to follow the step-by-step process. Everything is detailed there. If you use that book, it's a guide. You would live again. But I'm going to stop there for now with these points. Yeah, because of time.
Wow. Like I said earlier, this is mind-blowing. You have a lot to tell us. I wish we have more than 30 minutes. But what is going to happen now is that we're going to go on a 30 seconds break. And when we come back, you're just going to quickly give us your last thought. Just tell the audience how they can see you and how to reach out to you. A 30 seconds break. Stay with us. And if for me, you're just a very phenomenal person. Very, very phenomenal. You have a whole lot doing. Just before we leave the studio, or before I let you go, just quickly give us your last thoughts and then tie it with how you want the audience to reach out to you for people who have these issues. But in your last thoughts, I want you to draw a focus on it was a challenge for you starting this. What would be the advice you would give to one who is out to run a mission, a movement, a business, whatever? People might say, okay, we're not in abuse, it is not for us. But how about the challenges you've encountered? What advice would you give to one who is wondering, how do I go about it? And it's almost like the person is in a fix. Just your last thoughts.
Okay, so my last thoughts will be, if you have any good work in your heart that you want to do, your first step is obedience. Obedience. It sounds very cliche. It sounds very ordinary, but that is all you need. By the time you move, everything you need is in your moving, but you need to move. Start with someone. There is a now part. There is a now aspect of your vision. There's always a now. What can you start doing now? If it's about widows, there is a widow in your neighborhood, I can guarantee you. There's a widow in your church. So start with that one person that God said. My own started from after I kept hearing Live Again and everything. I think one day I was going to work and he said, pay this person's school fees. And that was the person's school fees I paid. So there's an instruction. There is a nudging you have right now. Do it. Mary told the disciples, whatsoever he tells you to do, do it. So your first step now is obedience. Right? And secondly, because you are feeling like God is calling you to do something, doesn't mean you should not be qualified for it. What do I mean? We say that God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. What it means is your calling will place a demand on you to learn certain things, to build capacity for the calling. Even if it's YouTube or Google, go there, how to help a widow, how to whatever, learn. He qualifies you through learning, through your experiences, through these things that you're doing. So do and learn. And then for the person that is going through challenges and saying, oh, it's easier said than done, and oh, this thing that she's saying, I'm not being abused, just like you said, I would say to that person that change your perspective, because perspective is what makes the difference, right? If you keep looking at that problem as a problem, you will not be able to come around it, right? That problem is an opportunity. Actually, it is actually an opportunity. It's calling you to a bigger person, a stronger person. So stop running away from challenges. They make you better. They make you bigger. If you're able to go through it and not jump and pass, you will come out on top. But if you jump and pass, you will meet it in the front. So face it. Don't run away from it. Face it. Change your perspective about it, and you will come out on top of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And how to reach me? Let me not forget that. How to reach me? You can find me on LinkedIn at Enifome Ogbini, or on Instagram at Enifome Speaks. I'm also on YouTube, Enifome Speaks, but basically Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can find me, Enifome Speaks, on both Instagram and YouTube, and then Enifome Ogbini. That's how you can
Okay.
reach me. But when it comes to
Enifome
abuse and abuse-related issues, just DM Live Again Foundation. We have a helpline. You can even get immediate response just in case I'm busy or I'm at an engagement or something. Send a message to Live Again Foundation.
Wow. Thank you so much. So you can reach you at Enifome Speaks on LinkedIn and on Instagram. And then on Live Again for people who are
Yes,
facing
foundation.
abuse on your quick line.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Enifome, this is a very interesting moment. We will really, really enjoy our time with you. We will
Thank
want to plead
you.
with you to keep your doors open and, be ready to give us that hand whenever we reach out to you again. We will have more people who
Absolutely.
would want to get to know you better and hear more about you. Enifome, thank you for coming. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Yes, it's been wonderful talking with Enifome. She's doing phenomenal. And I want to also thank you for staying with us to this moment and listening to us. We want to say a very big, big thank you to all of you. And we want to plead with you, do not forget to subscribe, share, and click on the notification button. And also follow us on different platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and on Spotify. And be there each time we post so that you could get to hear us. I want to use this opportunity to thank all the members of this crew of the crew who are back end and ensuring that we run a very successful podcast week in, week out. And at the same time, thank you to Ike, who has also been there ensuring that this vision does not capitulate. We want to say to our viewers, thank you for being with us and stay tuned.